Ryan, the tennis preacher, the prophet, the psychic, coming back at you again with another video. I got to get some of these Federer fans right, people. They acting silly and they tripping so unnecessarily. People, listen here. Now check this out. And I need some people to come. Now, not all Federer fans are coming back tripping, but I think it's totally unnecessary. And I don't even understand why. Now, people, it got to do with the video I made yesterday. Those of you who don't know, who just clicking on my channel for the first time, you can just type in the Djokovic Greatness versus Federer Greatness and just put in parentheses on YouTube, Tennis Prophet. It should come up. And it was a video. In the video, I pretty well gave my explanation about why. After talking about the Djokovic for the last week or so, a few days, and how great the Djokovic was and is, I gave my personal opinion about if I think the Djokovic is as great as Federer, or just where he stands in the greatness debate, as far as I'm concerned. And so what I did, though, people, in the video, I said that I clearly says that the Djokovic is not as great as Federer. That I didn't change my mind, and that I even though I put the Djokovic in the Dow's category, I still would even put Nadal over the Djokovic as far as greatness. Okay, and I was very clear about that. And Federer fans are still tripping. They feel threatened by the Djokovic greatness. So I was wondering why. So, but then I said, well, maybe the video wasn't clear. Let me go back to people. Usually I don't do that. I do go back and listen to some of my videos to see if I'm being funny, if I'm clear sometime. But I actually went back and listened to this video to see, was I clear? I mean, didn't I say that Federer is greater than the Djokovic? I mean, I know you can put and I did say, I understand that people do say that Djokovic is the best of all time or whatever. But from my perspective, I said that Djokovic, I mean, it's not as great as Federer. He's close though. So I'm like, well, maybe I didn't make that clear. So, because if I made it clear that Federer is over the Djokovic, why are Federer fans acting silly and tripping about it? I mean, do they feel threatened by something, by this whole the Djokovic greatness we've been talking about the last few days? So I went back and listened to the video, people. And people, I was very clear. I said the Djokovic is not quite as great as Federer. And I think I gave the reason that it's because of what he didn't do before his peak. Not necessarily now that he's hurt. I mean, that has something to do with it too. But more that he wasn't even half as great, not even really great at all. He won the Australian Open in 2008. But besides that, he did good stuff, winning titles, small titles and stuff, but he didn't do nothing super great. Not even close to what he did between 2011 and 2016. So the question is, why would Federer fan, like if I was a Federer fan and I listened to the video, and I think I said also in the video, yeah, if I was a Federer fan, I would be happy. I'd be like, okay, the tennis prophet still think Federer is the GOAT over the Djokovic. So then the question is, why are some of these Federer fans tripping? They saying all this stuff like what ifs. You said a bunch of what ifs and what this. And what saying all that nonsense, man, acting like the Djokovic isn't real. Man, like I told one Federer fan, the Djokovic beat Federer 3 times, man, the last majors. And there's so many experts between 2014 and even 2017 and even today, they saying that Djokovic is even the best ever. Okay, so this is not a bunch of what if stuff. And also the Djokovic got unbelievable records, even records that Federer and Nadal doesn't have. So this is not a bunch of what if stuff. But let's get back to the question. Why are Federer fans, not all Federer fans now, why are these few Federer fans so desperate and insecure and how you say threatened by this the Djokovic super greatness that I've been talking about the last 2 days? Now, people, let me just say something about this. even though I've done a couple videos on the Djokovic, but not really the Djokovic versus Federer. It was 8 months ago, way back, 3 months, 4 months after I started my channel. But people, listen, about 6 months ago, and I want to give a shout out to this, I don't know if she's still a subscriber. It is a lady. I'm not going to call her name out because she may not be a subscriber now, but I'll let her come back in the discussion if she wants to come back in the discussion. But people, I was talking about something. It was about Federer's greatness or goatness about 6 months ago, and this was a Federer fan. She said, I'm a Federer fan. Now, I got her name and I got the comment, but I'm going to let her, I want her to come back and tell me why she said this, and maybe she can explain why these Federer fans who are tripping, not all Federer fans, why they are threatened by the Djokovic greatness. Now, listen what she said. This Federer fan said, Magic Man, now I said Federer was like arguably the GOAT. She said, Magic Man, I'm sorry about that, but I'm a Federer fan. I think the Djokovic is the best and the greatest. And so, listen here, I sent a comment back to her and said, I'm surprised that you are a Federer fan. I never heard a Federer fan say the Djokovic is the greatest. She said, yeah, the Djokovic to me is the greatest. I mean, people, and listen, people. Now, the reason I'm not calling her name out, maybe she changed her mind because she said this before Federer won 20. She did say it I think it was last November or something like that when she said it. No earlier than October. Something around the Shanghai. I think she said it around that time. But so Federer had 19 majors. So even with 19 majors, this Federer fan is saying the Djokovic is the greatest. Now, that don't mean the Djokovic is the greatest, but I'm just saying, people, that's a compliment to the Djokovic, okay? For that a Federer fan would say that, and even after I questioned the Federer fan, they stick with their argument that the Djokovic is the greatest. Now, people, let me say something here. Now I'm going to wait for this Federer fan to comment, and I may send her a private text to ask her to comment publicly. And see, she may still be a subscriber, but I'll deal with that later. But I want to say, if that Federer fan, what I want that Federer fan to do, I want you to tell me, why do you think, if you still think that now maybe she's changed her mind. Maybe she jumped back on the Federer bandwagon after Federer won 20. That's possible. And some people did do that. When Federer won 20, it changed the minds of people that had doubt about Federer being the GOAT. They said, this guy got to be the GOAT. He's 36 years old, going on 37, and he went in the 20th major. Okay, so maybe she's changed her mind. Now, people, let me get back. Let me sort of tell y'all probably why the Federer fans, not all Federer fans, why those few Federer, I'm going to say the few Federer fans are threatened by the Djokovic greatness, okay? And the Djokovic got a unique greatness because he got that short-term greatness that can almost override a long-term greatness, almost, okay? People, listen here. Y'all remember in the video, I told y'all, if y'all right now Google, go to Google, just Google, the Djokovic is the best of all time. People, so many articles come up where experts, I'm talking about incredible organizations such as ESPN, CBS Sports, credible sports writers are saying that Djokovic, we think he's the best we ever seen. Okay? And now one Federer fan said this here, I think it was FedEx. He said, well, Magic Man, those are, he verified, FedEx did confirm the articles are there. It's so many articles. It's so many. I'm talking about someone was after Federer beating Nadal in the Australian Open. People were still saying that Djokovic is the best we ever seen. Now, that's the best we ever seen, mean the greatest we ever seen. Some people use the word greatest. Some people use he's the best we ever seen. Now, let me get back to what the FedEx Federer fan said here. FedEx said, well, Magic Man, those articles are true, but they are based on the people that said that in those articles was saying that with the assumption that the Djokovic wouldn't get hurt or wouldn't lay off tennis and that he wouldn't go down the way he's gone down now. No, that's not true. People, listen, if y'all read those articles, let me tell you what Nick Bollettieri, y'all know, everybody know Nick Bollettieri. He runs the big Florida camp, Nick Bollettieri, who's produced so many greats like Agassi, etc., etc., etc. Nick Bollettieri said, the Djokovic at his highest level is the best we ever seen. And he said if he had to choose a team, he said at the Djokovic highest level, he's taking the Djokovic over Nadal and Federer. People, that ain't got nothing to do with the future of FedEx. This is Nick Bollettieri. People, y'all can read it. And dude, people, so many experts, they talked in the present. It was no assumption that if the Djokovic keep up the level, he will be greater than Federer. People were saying, now I'm not saying that I believe that, but I'm telling you what experts were saying all across the board, that the Djokovic is the best they ever seen, period. Not that he needs to sustain some level. This is the best we ever seen at that high level. Okay? So here's my thing here. So now I'm going to tell y'all why I think those Federer fans are threatened. I'm going to tell you why. Because the threat is real. And listen, let me tell you what the Djokovic did, people. He did something even better than Nadal did. Nadal threw some doubt into... Not now. I think Federer has clearly passed Nadal. And not saying Nadal couldn't come and catch him. But I'm going to tell you what Nadal did. Because Nadal had the better head-to-head than Federer. Definitely before Federer. I know Federer's beaten Nadal the last 5 times, but definitely before that. Nadal, he threw a doubt in whether Federer was the GOAT. And so there was even, now Nadal fans said this here. Well, they tried to write a narrative that because Nadal got a better head-to-head, that means he's the greater one. Now, when I started my channel, I let people know that head-to-head don't determine who's greater. It just means you match up well with the guy. I do, but I'm saying, whether that's true or not, what the Nadal fans were saying, I don't believe that's true, but it put doubt into what Federer's the GOAT. That Federer, how can he be the GOAT? There was a lot of people bought that argument. How can he be the GOAT if he can't dominate Nadal or Nadal dominated him? Okay, but let me say something about this. Now, you may say, what does this have to do with the Djokovic? But see, people, now listen here. Only Nadal fans said Nadal was the GOAT for that reason, because he had a better head-to-head. Most tennis fans and most experts, they didn't say that Nadal was the GOAT over Federer. Most still felt that even with the bad head-to-head with Nadal, Federer was still the GOAT over Nadal. Now, but with the Djokovic, it's different, people. Now, you may say, well, imagine, man, but the Djokovic had the better head-to-head too with the Federer. So maybe that's why they said that's why people or experts are saying that Djokovic was the best ever. No. People, it wasn't the head-to-head why people said that Djokovic was the best ever. See, this is what's so great about the Djokovic. And this is what the Djokovic was able to do better than Nadal. People, forget the head. People just thought that Djokovic was the best ever, period. Without the head-to-head. They just thought that Djokovic is the best they ever seen at his high level. Forget the head-to-head. So I'm just saying, I think that's why Federer fans are threatened. People, I got a friend. He said, okay, Federer's probably the GOAT, but I think that Djokovic is the best ever. He says that. Now, people, imagine that. People, that would bother me if I was the GOAT. Can you imagine that? If I was the GOAT, and people say, you the GOAT, Magic Man, but the Djokovic is the best we ever seen. That would bother me. So now somebody may say, so now, am I saying that the Djokovic greatness puts doubt in Federer's GOATness? I don't think it ain't so much it put doubt. What it does, though, it puts an alternative that people may say, there may be people saying, hey, there are going to be people saying this right here. Federer's the GOAT, but the Djokovic is the best we ever seen. That may be the narrative. And even today, there's a lot of credible sources, not crazy fans. There's a lot of crazy fans that think like that. I'm going to leave on this note here. They say Federer is the GOAT, but the Djokovic is the best we ever seen. Now here's the question. Can you be the GOAT? Yeah, there's another guy over here where people saying this is the best we ever seen. So I'm thinking that's probably That's probably why Federer fans are bothered. People, this is sort of going on in the NBA, that LeBron James in the NBA, he's got a longevity that's greater than Michael Jordan. But people say they don't care. We think Michael Jordan is still the best and the greatest, even though he played lesser years than LeBron James. So remember I told y'all about the Jesus Christ? The Jesus Christ is when you can play for a short period of time and then have greater stats than maybe somebody that's played a longer period of time. That's sort of what Michael Jordan did, but that's a different argument. Let me not go there. Let me get back to the Djokovic thing. So people, that's probably why, is that the Djokovic, what he did, and this is great. This is taking how great the Djokovic is. He got people saying, even to this day, that even the people that say Federer is the GOAT, people still say, but the Djokovic is the best we ever seen. Okay, people, y'all can take that however you want to take it. Tennis preacher, tennis prophet, tennis psychic. Have a good one.